You know, a good friend of mine once told me that satire is the aggressive side of disappointment. And for the most part, I think that's true. The question becomes not whether satire, in terms of criticism of what is going on, is actually effective or not. The fact is that it doesn't change the structure of power overall. So, should we take Glenn Beck's rally in Washington, D.C. seriously? Or should we just dismiss it as some sort of an uninformed lunatic rant? I'm not sure. On the one hand, you know, the guy is a complete idiot when it comes to historical facts. He distorts them all the time at will on every one of his broadcasts, and he informs essentially the uninformed masses and gets them to believe that what he says is the truth. So, in his estimation, the civil rights movement was some sort of a religious contraption. You know, it was all about God and, well, that's what he's saying now, but it was all about God and inner faith and all of these personal feelings that everyone has. When in contrast to the actual movement itself, it could have been nothing is further from the truth, really. I mean, Martin Luther King spoke up for social justice, which Beck, in his latest interview, just after his little rally now, has denounced because he doesn't agree with MLK's economic viewpoints, of course, you know. This wasn't supposed. It's not about social justice. When Martin Luther King actually stressed that in every one of his goddamn sermons, in case Beck hasn't bothered to listen to it. So in Beck's estimation, I suppose God is just going to rain down the jobs and the equality and employment and education from the sky, you know. Martin Luther King was a conciliatory leader who didn't promote hate speech or division as Glenn Beck does on a regular basis on his programs. That is why MLK essentially became a legend, because he didn't try to divide people. He tried to bring them together, as a matter of fact. Glenn Beck is a media talk show host who, by focusing the attention on himself and his own journey through life, his suffering, so to speak, his connection with some higher entity, whatever that may be, whether it's God or high finance, is to be believed simply because he says so. This is, this is nothing nothing new. And we've had many of these charlatans before in history who proclaim many things, especially their humility, a few steps down in front of other historical figures, while basically engulfing the ignorant masses into their own, whatever, sermons, you know? It's pretty much like, not exactly, but it's pretty much like Jim Jones, Timmy Swaggart, you know, Tammy Faye, all these figures, you know, which want you to focus on their personality, on their journey through life, rather than through your own journey. For someone like Beck to proclaim that he understands the civil rights movement and then claims it as, well, you know, sort of like his own, you know, like the inheritor of that movement, is essentially a joke. What Beck either knows or knows nothing about is that conservatives in this society, and that included Democrats, and yes, Dixiecrat Democrats, by the way. So this is not a party issue here, as some people like to point out. It is the conservative mindset that basically held civil rights back for hundreds of years in this country. It wasn't the conservatives who brought about civil rights. In fact, they fought it all the way. Whether these were Democrats or Republicans, it doesn't matter. It is the same mindset that prevented people from being equal with others. It was the conservative mindset in this country that declared that women and minorities should not have the right to vote. This went on for hundreds of years, since the beginning, basically. And now conservatives are trying to tell you that they are basically the liberators of society, when in fact it is the exact opposite. Your 8-hour wages, your 8-hour working day, no child labor, the women's right to vote, and all of that was not accomplished by conservatism in America. It was quite the opposite. So look it up. Look it up. Don't argue with me on this video. Take some time to calmly read through the stuff, as long as the books haven't been burned yet. Because historical revisionism is very much alive in this country. And before all the books get burned, I suggest you read them, because they will be very rare and will only be available to the elite from this point on.